Okay, well, I had to cut off last night a little bit earlier than I wanted to because there was a rather severe thunderstorm in the area, and I didn't want to risk losing. Well, just losing power in the middle of the stream. Be quite inconvenient. I want to break 170k today. Overall goal for however long I stream today is to break 170. It's gonna get hot out today. I looked at the weather last night. I think the forecast was like 98 degrees or something. Thankfully, though, I don't have to go outside, so that's a plus. Messing up these teleports a little bit. I'm really excited to go to the Reptile Expo this weekend. I don't even know entirely what I want there. I just want to go. It's fun. Reptiles. Reptiles are cool. You can see progress, you think? Yeah, well, the goal for today, I don't know if it's going to be this stream, but at least, you know, today. I want to get past 170k. It should probably be, you know, around about 6 hours of streaming. Which if I have the energy for, I could do today. I'll probably do a lot of marathon streaming today. Because this weekend I'm going to be a bit busy, so I want to get in as much as I can. By the time this is done, 1.4.6 is going to be announced. I want to get it done before 1.4.5. That's the goal. confident can do it. I hope so. It should only be maybe 3 more streams of doing the hands. Oh, sorry, 3 more days of doing the hands, not streams. Unless I do some very long streams. If I make, you know, the pace I've been making. And then we do the top eye. And the top eye should be easier to damage than the hands. So our DPS there should be higher. Hopefully. Haven't actually tested it. But, if that's the case, if we can deal, let's say, 2 DPS, or even, let's say, 1 DPS, like, let's assume a, you know, not ideal scenario, we do 1 DPS. Well, 1 DPS is still, what, 3,600 damage an hour? Which is, like, 3 times as much damage as we're dealing now. And, you know, 3,600 damage an hour, it only take, you know, 18 hours for that top eye. And if it's a similar story for the core, then we'll probably, you know, I measure the buffs for this. Okay, so before the fight, I had around 600 Iron Skin, 600 of the buff potions and pumpkin pies. However, because of the uncertainty of how long this would take, now I made 600 of them just by farming the ingredients. It's not very difficult. But because of the uncertainty of how long it would take, I went ahead and researched them at the start of the fight to give me an effectively infinite supply. Now 600 would give me, let's see, they're 8 minutes each. See, 10 potions is a little over an hour. I think I'd round about like 80 or 90 hours of buffs. However, because I wasn't sure if it was going to take longer than that, I went ahead and researched them just because otherwise I would have just spent time farming. It would have just made it take longer for us to start because I would have just gone back and farmed even more Iron Skin and Pumpkin Pie and regen potions and whatnot, and that would have just taken a long time. So I have an effectively infinite supply at this point. We're not going to have to worry about getting 100 hours in and then realizing we didn't take enough buff potions. Are we the world's longest Moonlord fight or something? I mean, I think I already probably have done the world's longest Moonlord fight. I'm probably just beating my own record there. I think it'll probably take more than 100 hours. Unless we have exceptional DPS against the top eye and core. Our DPS against the core should be the highest, I think. Because the top eye closes down. And I was thinking about it. I think the strategy I'm going to work with the core. I talked about this last night, but if I put a teleporter underneath the distant teleporter, this one here, and then I essentially cycle between the two of them, going up and down between those teleporters. Because it said 2 DPS for a second. Yeah, when I hit the right hand several times in rapid succession, which happens sometimes, we can get up to 2 or sometimes 3 DPS, but the problem is we then don't damage it for like several seconds after that, so it averages out to being like a third of a DPS or something. You know, I was talking about this yesterday. There's another boss that has a, that scales based on the number of players in a way that doesn't just buff its HP, and that is that the Lunatic Cultist fires additional lightning projectiles from his lightning attack, for each player. Forgot about that one. Remember the Cultist did that. Yeah, Cultist can actually be, if you don't have a good tank, the Cultist can actually be a kind of annoying fight in multiplayer. A tank will make the Cultist pretty much a joke, but if you don't have a good tank, the fight can be a little bit tricky, because there's a lot of projectiles flying around. He doesn't have a big hitbox. He likes flying around to locations that are difficult for everyone to damage if there's not a tank manipulating his position. And more players makes it more likely that somebody's going to mess up and summon a Phantasmal Dragon or an Ancient Vision. Which is pretty inconvenient. One of my favorite things to do in multiplayer, though, is against the Moonlord. In the Moonlord's second phase, you can get the True Eyes of Cthulhu aggroed away from the Moonlord. Like, if you have somebody else pull all 3 of the True Eyes away from the Moonlord, then the Moonlord is just completely defenseless. He can't do anything. Recently, you discovered two people with the same username as yours. You're gonna change it soon that you don't know what to. Username changes are always difficult. I've gone through quite a few usernames myself in the past. Especially, it's hard to find a username that's completely unique. You generally have to be pretty specific or combine words that are very different to have a username that's completely unique. The more generic the concepts in your username, the more likely it is other people are going to share them. To me, the main thing I like in a username is for it to look and sound like clean. Consistent capitalization, not having like letters or numbers out of place. My current name rhymes, which is part of why I like it a lot. It's just I think it's pleasing to say. Hey, Cheesy. How you doing? Right, you recently published the final version of your mod? Nice. What's your mod? I don't know if I've heard too much about that before. Hey, Jokey. True Wrath for Cortex. It's a joke mod. Is it for Terraria or is it for a different game? Terraria. Hey, Ankod. Is your profile picture like a cat's head coming out of a pile of sand? Maybe. I mean, I genuinely can't tell. Your profile pic is very small on my, my monitor. Yeah, I think I'm going to, my sister really wants some millipedes, so I think we're going to scout out, like, millipede breeders. Hey, Ashley. At the Reptile Expo this weekend, if there are any, and see about setting up a millipede enclosure. Yummy? No, we're not going to eat them. You are? Oh, well, I don't think it's a very good idea, because millipedes, when threatened, exude a poisonous substance from their skin. How have I got this far with only the lawnmower, especially the mechs? Well, this is the don't dig up seed, which means time limits don't exist. So there's no issue about having limited time and being unable to kill the mechanical bosses based off of that. And I mean, if you want to see how I killed the mech bosses, you can go watch those streams. The Destroyer wasn't too bad. It was just 6 hours of doing this. Skeletron Prime was decently annoying. The twins took quite a long time. I think the twins were like 12 or 13 hours. I use a script or it's all normal? So for previous bosses, a lot of them I did AFK. And when I say AFK, I mean I bound the attack key and the walk key to the same button, and then put a water bottle on my keyboard holding down that button, and then just read a book while it was happening. I was reading a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's stories. I have a big book that is a compilation of all of his written work. And we were reading those. However, I can only do that on bosses that are completely AFKable, that require no input whatsoever. I did not, like, make a script to fight bosses that required more effort than that. I just fought them. Like the Moonlord here, I don't have a script for this. I'm doing this all by hand. The Eye of Cthulhu, I think I just made a setup to sit still. The Brain of Cthulhu, I had to do actively. Queen Bee, I think we did mostly AFK. Skeletron, we had to do actively. The Wall of Flesh, we had to do actively. The Destroyer, we had to do actively. The Twins were partially AFK. Once we got Spasmatism dead, I think I could mostly AFK that fight. But I still had to look on screen a bit to teleport correctly and make sure things were lined up. I had to press the teleport button. Skeletron Prime, we had to do actively. Plantera, we could do her first phase AFK, but not her second phase. Golem, we could do AFK. The Cultist, we had to do actively. Deerclops, we could do AFK, but Deerclops was a very short fight. The Pillars were pretty much AFK. With minor input. How long did the Wall of Flesh take? Doesn't have a time limit. Yes, and that is why we were playing on Journey mode. And God. I fought every boss except for the Wall of Flesh on Expert or above. Most of the pre-hard mode bosses I fought on Master mode. The hard mode bosses I've been fighting on Expert mode. However, the Wall of Flesh, due to the forced time limit, means that it's not possible to kill the Wall of Flesh on any difficulty higher than Classic. It just has too much HP, and you cannot deal enough damage to it with a Lawnmower. On Classic, with a pretty optimized setup, and abusing an exploit with heart statues to cause them to heal me faster than they should, and ignore their cooldown, it took like 80 or 90% of a large world, completely flattened out from one end to the other, just to kill the Wall of Flesh on Classic. So we use Journey mode to increase the difficulty there. So we don't have to fight everything else on Classic, because Classic is pretty boring. Now do it on Master? It's not possible. You're just describing something that's not possible. Just do it. It's not possible. just do it? No, it's not possible. I mean, you're welcome to do it yourself if you disagree with me, but I'm not going to do it. What setup did I use? I would suggest just going back and watching the stream where I did it. Be easier than me to describe. It was a long time ago. I don't remember a lot of specifics about it. You're gonna use Hellstone and DPS accessories. That's going to do nothing. I'm just gonna let you know. The Lawnmower is not going to benefit from any DPS accessories you give it. I mean, it's just a fact. It's classless damage. It's not going to get boosted. Now, a Shark-Tooth Necklace will give a small amount of armor penetration, but that's about it. Attack speed does nothing. The Lawnmower is not a melee weapon. The most you could do is a Shark-Tooth Necklace would give you 5 points of defense penetration. A Stinger Necklace would give more defense penetration, but the Stinger Necklace would also, like, out-DPS the Lawnmower, so using it's kind of cheating. No, a Stinger Necklace is cheating. The bees that it releases just do, like, more damage than the Lawnmower does. At that point, you have better luck just doing Stinger Necklace only than Lawnmower only. Zenith? Yes, you could use a Zenith to kill the Wall of Flesh with a Lawnmower. Hey, Wuya. Zenith, but you give the final blow to the Lawnmower. That's not really killing it with a Lawnmower. Yeah, hey, Booyah. No, I mean, you could argue that it's finishing it off with a Lawnmower, but I wouldn't consider that killing the boss with a Lawnmower. That's why I'm stuck doing this for days on end, because I have a sense of integrity and would not just cheat and then make it look like I did something that I didn't do by just like cutting out the last 30 seconds of the fight and going, oh, here's like the complete ending. How long is my PC on? A long time. Or if there's going to be an electricity shortage for no reason, then I would just, as soon as I get my electricity back, take another weapon and then take the Moonlord to the same HP value he was at before I lost power, and then just continue from there. As I've said. Probably like a dozen times at this point. Long and tedious challenge like the Lawnmower. Yeah, taking regular breaks is a big thing. Making sure that like you sleep a lot and take regular breaks to not just get fatigued, because it's not possible to just power through, like, you know, in a day or in a couple days, something that takes like 100 hours. Like, if you try to power through and you go for like a 10, 12, 15 hour stream, you're gonna get burnt out very quickly. And so, like, time and energy management is really big there. Figuring out exactly how far you can push yourself without getting exhausted. Especially because focusing on a screen, you're going to give yourself a headache. If you do that for too long. Having But if you got wall flesh down to the last part of the map, then coincidentally your power shut off, so you respawned him down to where he was and started fighting enemy was low. There's a very difference between restarting a fight that's been taking 30 hours from the point where you left off and restarting a fight that takes 10 minutes. The difference is that the Moonlord, it makes no difference whatsoever. Like, this fight doesn't have any sort of time constraint whatsoever. If my computer goes to sleep and then wakes up and then we continue the fight exactly where we left off, it is exactly the same as if the game crashed and I took another weapon and then just got down to the HP value we were at and then continued from there. Functionally, those two are identical. Whereas the Wall of Flesh is actually making the difference between whether or not you succeed. Based on that. which is different. But you did all the damage with the lawnmower? I don't care. Again, you're welcome to play the game however you want. If you want to do a lawnmower only run, you are more than welcome to go beat the game yourself with a lawnmower. I'm doing it how I'm going to do it, though. I don't really care the rules that you think it should have. I care about the rules that I think it should have. If you disagree with them, go do it yourself. How do I relax and off Terraria time? Go lay down in bed. Watch something. I had been rewatching some old, well, I say old. The old new Doctor Who's. I was kind of bored. Sleep. Do world building. For the tabletop RPG campaign that I'm working on. Look at a cat. Look at a frog. Look at a turtle. What about going outside? The frogs and turtles are outside. Peach, how about the world so far? It's still in the early planning stages. But I'm working on a pseudo Renaissance era European environment where the party are a bunch of explorers going to a series of islands that have just been recently discovered and are mostly uninhabited and uncharted. It being much more historical and less fantasy, with an absence of magic, and being more of dark fantasy sans magic, with monsters and potential supernatural elements at play, but the people inhabiting it are pretty much entirely mundane. As a result, it doesn't really feel right calling it D&D, because, you know, the bulk of the D&D system is built on magic, and taking all of the magic out of D&D, like, you could still run it, but it's really quite different, especially if you get into, like, 5th edition, where magic is just everywhere and supernatural abilities are everywhere. Like, it's hard to play a character in 5th edition that doesn't have some sort of supernatural, or superhuman capabilities. Thank you, YouTube. I really appreciate you doing this. Involve a lot of research. Where am I getting information from? Historical research online, or just making it up and taking a best guess. You yourself, because you have to kill the Wallflesh Master Mode Lawnmower only to prove you wrong. I hate to break it to you. I don't care whether or not you do it. Like, if you're doing it to prove me wrong, I have some very bad news for you, because I'm not going to care. You should be doing it for yourself, not to try to prove something to me. Because as I already established, you're not using the rules that I've made for doing this run. So if you do something else, that doesn't really hold any bearing on whether or not what I said is true. Because what I said has the implication of, you cannot kill the Wallafesh with a lawnmower with the rules that I established. If you change the rules, obviously that might be possible. You're welcome to make yourself miserable, but if you're doing it with the expectation of me having any sort of interest in what you're doing, I have bad news for you. If you don't do it, my response is going to be, okay, well that seemed like a waste of time. If you do it, my response is going to be, okay, good for you, I guess. I think you're approaching it with not a very good mindset. You're approaching my mom with a not-so-good mindset. That's like the second your mom joke you've made in the past, like, 10 or 15 minutes. You seem to be running out of material. What time zone am I in? I am in EST. I'm on the east coast of the US. Hey, Pogabottle, how you doing? Oh, I have a question for you, Pogabottle. Because this happens to me a lot, and I never really get why. You had sent me a friend request on Discord, and then I accepted the friend request, and then, like, nothing happened. And that happens a lot, where people just send me friend requests and then never, like, reply or follow up or do anything. And I don't understand why. Guess what? Chicken butt. Do I have a TikTok? No. There's not going to be any situation in which I ever get a TikTok. I don't really use any social media, Pogabottle. I mean, even in Discord, I have, like, my server. What if you donated, like, $100? I would be thankful. I don't... Will I then make a TikTok? No. I'm not going to do things for you just because you gave me money. We have a good strat for beating Wall of Flesh and For the Worthy. Are you in For the Worthy or Get Fixed Boy? First question. For the Worthy. Okay, that is unfortunate because the Wall of Flesh is actually easier in Get Fixed Boy. Star Cannon is a horrible idea. Don't use the Star Cannon. In fact, that is quite literally the worst possible weapon you could choose. So, you need Imp Banners. It is going to be very difficult to kill the Wall of Flesh without Imp Banners or an arena that invalidates Imps. And it's much easier to get Imp Banners than it is to make an arena that invalidates Imps. So that means you're probably going to want to find an Imp statue. Which are easier to find and Get Fixed Boy because no traps increases statue spawn rates. But you can still find them decently easily. As long as you look for them early and know what you're looking for. If, you know, during the exploration phase of the game, you keep an eye out for Imp statues, you can usually find one pretty consistently. Now, when you do find an Imp statue, if you grind that Imp statue, where can you find them? Anywhere underground. They're just a statue. Spelunker Potions highlight statues. But since the Wall of Flesh spawns Imps, the Imps are the bulk of the difficulty in the For the Worthy Wall of Flesh fight. And the Imp statue is going to have the amount of... It's going to more than have the amount of damage you take from them. And more than double the amount of damage you deal to them. So those banners are a massive difference for that fight. Remember that their projectiles cannot be destroyed. And they also move at a high speed. Don't spam emojis. Now, that aside, Dune Rider boots, or honestly just like lightning boots and a Magiluminescence, very good for the Wall of Flesh. The golf coat is also a good mount if you feel like golfing. You generally are not going to need any vertical mobility at all, so you can usually ditch, you know, if you have like fledgling wings, or sometimes a balloon can be nice with a double jump, but you really don't need that much vertical mobility. It's mostly a horizontal fight. As a mage, Demon Scythe is probably going to be your best bet. Yeah, I don't really play mage much, but I think I'd probably go for Demon Scythe. You're going to want... Would Water Bolt be good? I don't think Water Bolt is going to be better than Demon Scythe. If you have a good arena, you can bounce Water Bolt up and down and deal a decent amount of damage to the Wall of Flesh, but, like, the faster the Wall of Flesh gets, and the smaller the Wall of Flesh's segments are, the less effective Water Bolt gets. And you also have to deal with imps and everything, and the positioning's awkward. I think just firing off Demon Scythes is the way to go. I would recommend an Obsidian Skin Potion, because the shots from the imps, their fireballs, can light you on fire, which is going to significantly diminish your ability to recover HP. And so having immunity to on fire through Obsidian Skin will be very good. And make sure you take a full suite of potions. Magic Power, Mana Regen. As a mage, you should really be relying on Mana Regeneration potions rather than popping Mana potions, because the damage reduction from Mana Sickness is going to be pretty massive. So just taking a second or two to stop shooting with a Mana Regeneration potion is better than just popping Mana potions like candy. And armor-wise, so the Glass Cannon Mage build that's going to optimize your damage is going to be like a Mystic Robe, a Wizard Hat, and Jungle Pants, I think, is typically what you'd want. Meteor Leggings would give you a bit more damage on that, but the mana boost from the Jungle Pants is helpful. However, that's going to leave you with not particularly great defense. If you want something more defensive and less glass cannony, I would just go for Jungle. And if you can't get a Mystic Robe, Diamond's a decent substitute, but the damage isn't quite as good. Might use the full jungle set. Yeah, jungle's fine. Jungle's fine. Now, with that said, it will still be a difficult fight. Ranger and Melee probably have the easiest times with the for the Worthy Wall of Flesh. Summoner and Mage, it's a bit more tricky for them. Ranger having access to Hellwing and Phoenix Blaster, along with decent defenses, it's just very solid. And Melee having good defense and having like the Knight's Edge, make it much more manageable with those two. So if you're in a situation where you feel like Mage is too difficult, switching to one of those two might make it feasible. I don't really have experience with for the Worthy Mage Wall of Flesh. Oh yeah, and like I said, the full suite of potions. Magic Power, Mana Regeneration, either Wrath or Rage, depending on whether you're Corruption or Crimson. An Endurance Potion, a major well-fed buff if you can get one, if not, medium with Pumpkin Pies. Iron Skin, Regeneration, Swiftness, if you pop red potions, what I would do when I would do hardcore for the Worthy stuff is I would save up red potions and then drink them before the Wall of Flesh fight, and try to get the buff from the alternate world evil. Like if I'm in a Crimson world, I would try to get a Wrath potion from the red potion, and also try to get a Life Force potion, because the main usefulness of red potions, in my opinion, is at the very beginning of the game, and for pre-hard mode bosses before you have access to the hard mode potions. To give you access to potions you don't yet have. Because you can get Life Force potions, the alternate world evil damage potion, 30 minutes of endurance potion through red potions, which will give you access to something you wouldn't otherwise have. And similarly, like when I played this at the start of the game, I just pop them like candy. Because getting like an early game 30-minute Spelunker potion, mining potion, something like that can make a really big difference. And finding loot right away. Once you get into hard mode, they're a lot less valuable because you can just make the potions that you want. Like, you can just go fish up Prismite, or you can make an artificial Crimson biome or Corruption biome to get the alternate world evil damage potion. So I would usually just pop them and just try to get what I can for the Wall of Flesh. Now, obviously, if you're not in hardcore, that strategy might not be as appealing, because if you die, you do lose the buff. And so you might want to consider when and how many you want to use. But that's typically what I would do. Hey, Cooper. How you doing? If I do it right, I think the Moonlord's second phase with the True Eyes of Cthulhu will probably actually be the easier part of the fight, and the safest part of the fight. But I need to make sure that I line up the cycles of the True Eyes of Cthulhu. That is imperative if we want to have an easy time there. How many attempts did this take? This is the first attempt. I've been doing it for like, at this point, 30-something hours? How much damage have we dealt? We passed the 40,000 damage mark. It's probably somewhere in the 30 hours region. Here's I can first attempt this. The main concerns. So the only thing that's gonna cause me to fail is dying, right? And the main concerns for dying are going to be attacking his top eye could be somewhat dangerous, because I need to make sure I can avoid that laser, because that laser is going to deal a lot of damage. And in his second phase, if I don't synchronize the attack cycles of the True Eyes of Cthulhu, they might be able to whittle me down with sustained damage. The main thing, pretty much the only thing the True Eyes of Cthulhu can do to damage me in any meaningful capacity are the phantasmal eyes that they shoot. And if I synchronize their attack cycles, they're going to shoot all of their phantasmal eyes at the same time, which means basically only one of them is going to hit me. If I don't synchronize their attack cycles, all three of them are going to hit me, which is basically going to triple the damage that I take, which, for obvious reasons, is not good. Now, I can sustain triple phantasmal eyes for a while. I don't know if I can do that indefinitely, though. I'm certain that if I synchronize their attack cycles, I can survive that without issue. Because their phantasmal eyes do the same amount of damage as the phantasmal eyes here, which is usually somewhere in the ballpark of like 40 to 80 damage. And I have really good life regen. I have good sustain. But sustaining 40 to 80 damage hits every couple seconds could be problematic. Especially because I don't have anywhere to go. This is the arena. I can magic conch to the ocean and then magic mirror back, but I can't go anywhere. I don't have evasive accessories. I can't dodge. If they're able to out DPS my healing, there's not really much I can do about that. So synchronizing those attack cycles is going to be really important. Now, their lasers, while the lasers do deal a decent amount of damage, unlike the Moonlord's Phantasmal Death Ray, their lasers don't actually go through blocks. So this area right here will actually stop them from being able to damage me. With their lasers. And then their, like, eye projectiles and things do basically negligible damage. They're going to be doing, like, single digit, maybe like 10 or 20 at most. Now, staying alive is only half the battle. I do have to then deal damage. And in his second phase, dealing damage is going to get trickier. And it's largely going to come down to the fact that I'm not going to be able to really dodge his tongue. That's not going to happen. I have to just let the tongue hit me and then teleport at the appropriate time to avoid him from healing. And that's easier said than done. Now, when it comes to damaging his top eye, I need... I think I'm going to put down a third teleporter switch in this setup here. because I don't like my odds of dodging that Phantasmal Death Ray with just these three here. I feel like the horizontal movement here is really essential to dodging that. And so if I just change this right teleporter to take me up there instead, I think I'm just going to get hit by the Death Ray, and that's a big problem. Which means I probably put one, like, up to the right here, so when I move my cursor up to the top right, it teleports me up there. And then when the Death Ray is coming, I can use this to dodge it. Now, my damage opportunities... Problem is that eye spends a lot of time closed. Okay. There's a solid... probably 6 to 7 seconds per attack cycle in which I'm able to deal damage to the top eye. And, assuming that... I won't say 5 DPS. I'll say, let's say during those 6 or 7 seconds, I can deal 4 DPS. I feel like that's a reasonable number. Let's lower it down to 3, just in case something goes wrong. Let's say we deal 3 DPS to that eye during those 6 to 7 seconds. The eye's full attack cycle, let me get a count here. 714. Okay, 20 seconds. The Moonlord's full attack cycle is 20 seconds long. So, if we deal 3 DPS for 6 to 7 seconds, overall that's going to work out to probably about 1 DPS, which is drastically more than we're dealing now. That is like 2 to 3 times more damage than what we currently deal. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to work out exactly how I've measured it there, but for the time being, I'm going to operate on the assumption that I can deal about 1 DPS to the Moonlord's top eye. Which should mean 1 DPS is 60 damage per minute, which is about 3,600 damage an hour. Top eye has 67,000 HP. 3,600, 7,200, 14,400, 28,800, 57,600, probably about 20 hours, for that top eye. Ballpark guess. Core stays open the entire time, but I'm gonna have to teleport a lot more frequently. I can't make an estimate on the core yet. I really have no idea how that's gonna play out. I'm also assuming my teleporter is positioned correctly to hit the top eye. I haven't actually tested it. Might not work out the way that I am hoping it will. We'll have to see. I may need to adjust it and move it slightly, which would be inconvenient to have to do on the fly. But that's what the Conch and the Magic Mirror are for. Emergencies like that. We've dealt around about 1,700 damage today, though. Like I said, the goal is going to be 170k. Potentially more, if I feel up to it. I don't mind exhausting myself, because I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have to stream this weekend. Like I said, my dad's coming tomorrow morning. And they're going to be here, hang out for a while, and we're going to get lunch together. So tomorrow my stream opportunities would be limited to afternoon, night, if that. And then I got a Reptile Expo I'm going to on Sunday, which I plan to get there at 11. I'm probably gonna leave. Probably to like get up, get ready, leave at 10 because it's like an hour away. I'll be there for a while, get lunch. Probably won't be back until decently in the afternoon. So maybe I'll do like an afternoon night stream this weekend, but certainly not anything during the day. I'm doing all the teleporting manually, Banana. There are switches that I'm pressing. I have Smart Cursor to select them automatically so I don't have to move my cursor over them. And I'm just at the right time pressing the teleport button. The teleporting timing is... I'm teleporting at very specific times to manipulate the way that his hands are moving to allow me to hit them with a lawnmower. Or rather, to maximize how many times I can hit them with a lawnmower. Because I want to, like, move with them. Or hit them in situations like this where... just maximizing how often I can hit them. Now, the hand should only take something in the ballpark of 20-something hours to finish. Maybe even like 20 hours, honestly. They've only got like 30,000 HP left, roundabout. A little bit higher. But if we're dealing around 1,500 damage an hour, we might be done with the hands by this weekend. By the end of the weekend. And if we're done with the hands by the end of the weekend, then we'll probably be able to finish up the top eye and core by the end of next week. I'm making a lot of assumptions, but... it seems within the realm of plausibility. To be fair, 20 hours is less time. Like, we've been doing this for like 30-something hours. I don't know. Time doesn't really exist. I don't believe in it. we're going to have to separate our damage a bit, unfortunately. We're dealing damage to the left hand and the right hand at about the same pace here, but the problem is there were a few hours early on where I was not dealing damage to the left and right hand at the same pace. I was only dealing damage to the right hand, which means the left hand has considerably less damage marked on it, about like 2,500 less. And so we'll probably have to go through a period of time of trying to just damage the left hand and ignoring the right hand, which may slow down our time estimates a bit, as presumably that's going to about halve our DPS. Imagine being the Moonlord only to be decimated by a lawnmower. I don't know if this really counts as being decimated. This is like the Moonlord equivalent of being eaten alive by ants. Okay, I think we're at about 2,000 for this stream. Hey, FE505. What the hell? Weren't you here a couple days ago? I thought I recognized your name. Maybe it was just a different FE. I don't know. Or maybe you're just surprised we're still doing it. You're supposed to get fixed boy hardcore video, and for the golem fight, couldn't I have used claw fight bullets? Uh, Two things. One, I didn't have a very good gun to use claw fight bullets with. I mean, I would have been using like the Mega Shark, right? I think. And like, two, getting chlorophyte bullets would require mining a lot of chlorophyte, which would mean spending a lot of time in the jungle. And I really wanted to spend as little time in the jungle as possible, because there are several enemies in the jungle who are able to one-shot you, before you get beetle armor. So I really did not want to spend a lot of time in the jungle. Like, you look at a turtle the wrong way, you're dead. Jungle Creeper, I think, can also one-shot you. And, you know, I had hollowed armor and whatnot, but it's not completely consistent, and you're not always going to have it, and there's a lot of risk. And I felt it was safer to use something else. What did I end up using? Pulse bow? Well, that, and as I was searching for another weapon, like, I might have ended up on chlorophyte bullets eventually. But then I found a pulse bow, so I just used the pulse bow. I mean, that's also why I didn't use like a. Please stop pausing my playlist, YouTube. Jesus fuck. I have to tab out like every half hour just to say, yes, I want to continue watching this. Is there like a YouTube setting I can do to disable that feature? Make it stop pausing? And there are a lot of critters that keep spawning. These teleports. Spawn rates are normal. I checked to make sure they weren't increased or anything. I didn't realize that the Moonlord doesn't kill critters as well. That's interesting. That or maybe his attacks just aren't coinciding with where they are, but... Okay. We are almost at the benchmark of his HP when he teleports dropping below 100,000. when his core HP is subtracted. Hey, Ant God. Welcome back. $550 more. Why were you muted? You asked me to count down from 10 because you were close. And that's just not an appropriate comment. I don't really care. That's not an appropriate comment. That's why you got timed out. Okay, up the your mom count to 3. No, the teleport timing doesn't change. It's just, a noticeable milestone. The teleport timing isn't going to change until the top eye is dead. Oh, rather, I mean, we'll have to teleport at a different time to damage the top eye, but the Moonlord's healing stays the same. So, there are... A lot of people don't understand the Moonlord's healing mechanic at all, but of the people that do understand it, I know there's a lot of people, myself included for a while, who think that the Moonlord's healing timing is tied to his second phase, and that's not true. When he sends out his tongue is actually dependent on his top eye. As soon as his top eye pops out, it changes the healing timing. He alternates it with the laser, and as soon as that stops, it goes to like a 5-second cooldown. So if the two hands on the right are still alive and the top eye is out, he's going to be healing at a much faster rate. But as soon as we pop out that top eye, that'll be when we have to start teleporting a lot more frequently. And we're going to have to rework a lot of things. But as soon as we pop out all 3 eyes, we no longer really have to worry about him healing in the short term, which means we have time to build things, not teleport. You know, it doesn't matter if he heals when all of his 3 eyes are out. And his core is at full HP because there's nothing to heal. It's going to be at max HP. He can't revive his dead eyes. So that's our point in time where we can work on rewiring things, potentially re-strategizing a lot. All we have to do is just stay alive from the True Eyes. And obviously, once we want to start dealing damage, we're going to have to start dodging that healing. But it gives us a breather to potentially work on re-strategizing. One of the most underrated Terraria YouTubers for real. Well, maybe this will change that. Never know. But thank you. To be fair, as a whole, I wouldn't really consider myself to be a Terraria YouTuber as much as just a YouTuber who plays Terraria. Because I can't stick to one game. I would just get burnt out and tired. Like, I couldn't just make Terraria content. That's why I play and stream a lot of other games. Yeah, the problem is, once we get to damaging the core, it's going to be really difficult to... There's no easy to latch onto indicator of when the tongue is coming in his second phase. In his first phase, you've got the timing of the top eye and the laser and the eye closing. In his second phase, you really don't have anything. By the time you see the mouth open, it's too late. Since you're, right on top of it. However, I can tell exactly when the tongue hits me by looking at my debuffs. and seeing when it refreshes to 15 seconds. So I'll probably latch onto that to determine when I need to teleport. It doesn't matter if the tongue hits me, as long as I get away from the tongue as soon as it hits me. I just can't let the tongue stay near me. That's the big thing. Oh. I've really come a long way since the first time I killed the Moonlord with a wooden bow. Especially in terms of just endurance. Like, when I was doing that, I would only play for, like, half an hour at a time. I didn't stream it, I recorded it. You know, really short chunks. I was also doing it on my really shitty old laptop. And I think there was a point in time, about halfway through the fight, so Terraria there's a weird quirk with Terraria, where, the audio device that it outputs to is set when the game launches, and I don't think you can change it without relaunching the game, which means if Terraria is outputting to a certain audio device, and then that audio device gets disconnected and reconnected, as a separate entity, it just won't output audio. It'll be trying to output audio to the device that it no longer recognizes. And so you just can't have audio until you restart the game. So when I was playing with a wooden bow, I'm pretty sure I was playing without audio for a good amount of it, because there was a point in time where I'd accidentally disconnected the headset I was using, and then reconnected it, but it didn't do anything. because it was outputting to the wrong device. Although I might have been able to get OBS to pick up the right device, but I couldn't actually hear it. Maybe that was what was happened. I don't remember. Oh yeah, the other cool thing about no, never mind. Just getting my numbers mixed up. Oh. I was just a second too late there. Not a big deal. Just means our damage efficiency is a little lower. Okay. And now, every time the Moonlord teleports, we're going to see his HP in the 99997 instead of over 100,000. Which is pretty meaningless. It just means we've done 42,500 damage. But, it's visually neat, I guess. I'm really tired. I don't know what it is, because I slept plenty, but I've been yawning nonstop. I'm about a third of the way to the goal I'd set for today. You know, I could probably get a lot farther than 170k. I'll have to see how I'm feeling. Russian, but you're nice. Can you please cheese Eye of Cthulhu? You're new. Yeah, you can. Do you know how to build minecart tracks? If you just build minecart tracks, and make a minecart, you can cheese the Eye of Cthulhu really easily by just riding on the minecart. If you just move fast on the minecart, it can't catch up to you. You want to move slow enough that it'll stay on screen, but fast enough that you can outrun it. And you'll probably want to hammer the edge of it so it makes a bumper track, so you bounce back when you hit the edge. Because you'll probably have to ride back and forth in the minecart a bit. Will it work on mobile? Yeah. If you get a bunch of defense, the Eye of Cthulhu is also really easy to kill. Like, if you get, like, gold or platinum armor, you make an iron skin potion, and you reforge some of your accessories to the warding prefix at the Goblin Tinkerer. That'll make it very easy to kill the Eye of Cthulhu. Also, if you're struggling with the Eye, getting more max HP, getting up to, like, 400 max HP, can make a big difference. Okay, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, and we've done a little bit over 3,000 damage. Oops. Just a moment too late there. You can't beat Eater of Worlds and get Fixed Boy. Any tips? Yes, I would recommend doing Brain instead. Brain is much easier than Eater. I don't really have great tips for the Eater and Get Fixed Boy. I don't usually fight him that much, and I don't really have any good strategies for him. Brain is much easier, yeah. God, YouTube, please stop doing this shit. Yeah, Brain might seem difficult, and Brain is difficult, don't get me wrong, but Brain is way easier than the Eater. Probably just ass at the Eater? No, the Eater and Get Fixed Boy is really difficult. Easy to stun lock in second phase is a joke if you have a fire debuffing weapon. Well, you do have to build your arena appropriately for the Brain's second phase. He does flip the world upside down. And you need to be ready for that. And I wouldn't call it a joke even if you had a fire debuffing weapon. Like, Brain's not a cakewalk. But compared to the Eater, it's much easier. Specifically talking about for the worthy. I mean, regular Brain is really easy. As is regular Eater. Maybe better move speed? Magiluminescence? Magiluminescence is great. The creepers are so fast, return quickly, and there lies the problem. What weapon are you using? Panic Necklace is not a weapon. Just made the most scuffed stew? What makes it scuffed? Panic Necklace is good for the Brain, though. Specifically because it makes it so that the slow debuff is not just a death sentence. You're using melee? Okay. Have you considered not doing that? Like, melee can be fine, but if you're struggling with things, Demon Bow, Jester's Arrows, Tendon Bow, Jester's Arrows is about the best you're gonna get. Movement. Creepers react when you hit them and they start moving backwards. Being faster might not be the solution that you need. But if you want... You have the boomstick, how do you craft its ammo? Now that you have a gun, an NPC called the Arms Dealer will move into a valid house, and you can buy the bullets from the Arms Dealer. You need to make a house that an NPC can move in to. Yeah, Panic Necklace is good for the Brain because the Brain inflicts the slow debuff. and the Panic Necklace offsets the slow debuff. Otherwise, you're kind of just dead if you get the slow debuff at a bad time. Magic Luminescence is great, like I said. Day-old steakums meat, canned mushrooms, beef ramen packets. That's not a stew. That's an abomination. There's more to it. I don't see anywhere you could go besides downhill. Like, use Tendon Bow plus Jesters. Yeah, they're both fine. Tendon and Demon. Are you serious, YouTube? What the fuck? I just told you I wanted to keep watching. Oh no, it's lagging. Hold on, is the stream fine? The stream looks fine. Why is this not loading? That's weird. Did I just do... Yeah. Potatoes, flour to thicken, rosemary, black pepper, oregano, basil. Yeah, I mean, you really just made all of that worse, with the addition of the other things. You put in things that could have been good, and then just made it bad. Where did the 0.5 come from? That's because last night, the stream number 15 only went on for like 40 minutes because I had to stop because there was a pretty severe thunderstorm and I was concerned about losing power. So that wasn't really a full stream. So this is kind of the continuation of that. It's just a 5 out of 10 stew. How is that a 5 out of 10? Five out of 10 would be like average. That sounds bad. Down at the point we teleport directly behind you and the creepers hit you and send you into a knockback loop. I want to get better at dodging. I don't really know what to tell you there. You kind of just have to not get hit. Beat him using my strategy of cheesing the Blade of Cthulhu? Yeah, I mean, that one works fine. You use gladiator armor to prevent knockback, but you don't feel like grinding that because Hoplight's too elusive. I don't. I don't know. All I can really do is just point out, like, places that you could watch me fight the Brain of Cthulhu and For the Worthy, and maybe that would give you, like, some, maybe that would be helpful to, like, let you see something to use, but I don't really have any advice to give you, that I haven't already given. Are you fighting him on the surface, or are you fighting him underground? Fighting him in the underworld. Okay. Yeah, underworld's good. I did join the underworld, yeah. The underworld's a good place to fight him. Plenty of space, no other enemies to deal with. It's a good spot. You mean it's probably not big enough? Your arena only needs to be as big as you need it to be. If you feel like you don't have enough space, make it bigger. It's really mostly personal preference how big you make it. You have to make it count as crimson. But you only need 300 blocks for that, like... You could always make a second pocket of 300 blocks. You have to say that when you started Troya, you thought, oh no, it's so complicated, you'll never beat it even on the easiest difficulty, but it was pretty easy even on expert. Yeah, I mean, Terraria is not really that difficult of a game, and it might seem complicated, but the base gameplay is really not that complicated. And most of what you need is very simple. Once you grasp the basics. Oh. Thanks, Fifth. Yeah, you can get a lot of buffs for the brain. Help out a lot. Honey as well. You can get honey from the jungle. Put a pocket of honey you could dip in to get some HP regen. Also helps nullify poison, which is one of the debuffs that the brain can inflict. The buttons overwhelmed you at the start? Were you playing on mobile? Or something? Put dynamites on bunnies and you stack them in place. No. They patched that. That doesn't work anymore. If you stack a bunch of bunnies, only one of them will deal damage. You can't just stack a bunch of them and have them all deal damage, because they give iframes now. I played Roblox and Minecraft on your laptop and that broke a long time ago. Understandable. You'd still use them individually? Yes, but they really don't deal that much damage. Like, individually, they're only going to deal... They're kind of a lot of work to set up, and they only deal, like, at most a couple hundred damage. You'd be better off just throwing sticks of dynamite than releasing exploding bunnies. Plus, exploding bunnies are much more likely to kill you. Than the thing you're fighting. Boss that gave you trouble when you played expert was the bastard Skelly. Throwing dynamite is a decent strategy against the Brain of Cthulhu. It'll kill the creepers really easily. It's just kind of hard to position the dynamite. Boss gave you trouble when you played expert was that bastard Skelly. Yeah, Skeletron has very different AI from most of the bosses, and he can be weird to get a feel for. And in expert mode with his hands, his slow debuff, the skulls, gonna be tough to get a feel for him. Very awkward to aim. Dynamite? Try sticky dynamite. If you put, some blocks in the middle of the arena, they're gonna get blown up, but, you can throw sticky dynamite on them. And then, if you can bait the creepers into one of the sticky dynamites, I mean, I think one dynamite explosion will kill a big chunk of creepers. Even if you can hit one. I think Lona get fixed boy is that the twins really like despawning. So the way boss despawning works, it's almost the same for every boss. If a boss spends about 12 seconds off screen, they despawn. And because of how Mechdusa works and the incentive of running away from Mechdusa, it's very easy to keep the twins off screen for those 12 seconds, which then leads it to despawn. The main thing you have to do is just make sure you keep getting them back on screen. It's specifically because the twins, as they still have their regular attack cycle where they do the dashes and things. And when they do that, they slow way the fuck down. And they lag pretty far behind Skeletron. So they can despawn really easily. It takes something like to detonate. Dynamite? Yeah, I mean, Dynamite's not like... I wouldn't call Dynamite a, like, really good strategy, but if I had to choose between trying to use Dynamite and trying to use Exploding Bunnies, I would use Dynamite any day of the week. It's more consistent and predictable, and is much less of a risk to you. Multiplayer might throw a wrench in things, yeah. I would suggest, putting the nurse in a house just outside of the arena. And just going back to heal with her, instead of dying. Because there's, what, like a 60-second respawn timer in multiplayer in Get Fixed Boy? And, like, if you teleport back to the nurse to heal instead, you're going to be much more able to survive. For the twins, just dig a hole so neither of them hit you. And then jump out when they start dashing. Yeah, it works. If you want to see a bunch of cheese strats, you go watch the Cheese All Bosses video that I made a couple months ago. Yo, 4 DPS. Hit the hand 4 times. Once you beat Moonlord on this godforsaken siege, you're gonna go back to do hardcore. Good luck. How close are you? I forget if you said where you are right now. You're a cultist right now trying to grind Frozen Shield. Good luck. I know, but I do use sticky dynamite. I'm not sure what that's in response to. The amount of repetition is absurd. How have I not lost rhythm after so long? You can only repeat things so long before you get lost and don't remember what you're supposed to do. Kind of ironic. I have a good attention span. I don't know. I don't... That's not a problem that I have, losing rhythm like that. So I don't know how to describe why it doesn't happen. Ally left? I don't know what that means, Nabra. I don't understand why they increase the health of bosses in their segments. In multiplayer? Yeah. The health is getting shredded at the speed of a sloth who fell down a tree, but it's building up. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. Classic multiplayer, bumping up to a 6 out of 10. I don't respect your culinary opinions, Cooper. I'm sorry. I can't respect the steakum beef ramen packet stew getting a 6 out of 10. That's too much. It's like a very cheap stew. But I wouldn't give a very cheap stew a 6 out of 10. Do I like sushi? I don't really eat sushi very much. I really don't like nori, seaweed. That flavor does not sit with me well. And I also really don't like avocado. Which is in like California roll type things, which is a very common sushi that whenever people get sushi, being in America, a very common type that they will get. So I don't really eat sushi very much. I don't have anything against it, but sushi's expensive. I'm not terribly fond of what's in it a lot of the time. So I don't really eat sushi. Put you after sitting for a bit. I mean, I would give, like, a homemade stew that I make with, like, you know, fresh carrots, potatoes, and, like, a big thing of, like, chuck roast or something. Like a 7 or 8 out of 10. And, like, that's a good stew. Don't get me wrong. It's very good. I enjoy it quite a lot. But, you know, I would reserve, like, a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for, like, god tier food. Like, 7 or 8 I would consider to be, like, food that I quite enjoy and would make repeatedly. And then 5 or 6 things that are, like, passable. I don't know, just the... I feel like I'd probably give something like that, like, a 4. Maybe a 5 at a stretch. 6 is pushing it. There would be enough creepers to get molten stuff. It's gonna be very difficult to do that. The Brain of Cthulhu's drops are restructured in Master Mode, to the point that I think, like, 75% of the tissue samples drop from the brain itself. And only, like, 25% drop from the creepers. This was a 1.4.4 change. Makes it a bit more difficult to just kill those things and then get molten. I mean, you're welcome to eat your beef ramen steakum stew. But if you serve it to me, we're gonna have problems. Do I like shawarmas? I have not eaten a shawarma. I don't have an opinion on them. Finally, after about 2 hours, you got a paladin shield. Time for the turtle shell. Good luck. I mean, you're not playing hardcore now. Do you, like, really need the frozen shield? Is it worth spending the time to grind the frozen shield as opposed to just, like, trying to beat the game? I don't know. That's why I never really go for the paladin shield's upgrades outside of, like, really specific challenges like this, is because they just take so long. And, like, it's easier and faster just to beat the game. I don't like thinly sliced beef stew. I like them big chunks of beef. You know, confuse you, the Crimson Rod and Rod of Discord? Why do they confuse you? What's confusing about them? They're sprites? They're vaguely similar, I guess. They're damn near identical? Nah, they're not. I usually tell them apart because one of them is, you know, a pretty decent support item that I wouldn't mind carrying around me on pretty much any character just to use whenever I feel like it. And the other one deserves a slot in the spot in the trash slot. And I think it's pretty obvious which is which. Ever tried Infonum? No. I don't really want to play Infonum. I didn't like base game Calamity that much. I certainly don't want to play a version of Calamity that's probably just going to be filled with overtuned boss fights. Of bosses that I didn't really like that much in the first place. That just seems not fun. Thank you, YouTube, for... Oh, no, there we go. It wasn't pausing, it was just a slow video. Like, I don't really care if it's difficult. Being difficult doesn't mean it's fun or something that I'm interested in. Good example of this being the fact that I did not like Noida at all. In any way. Fuck that game. And Phonum just had some cinematic flair to the bosses. I don't want cinematic flair on the bosses. There's still have a 1 in 2 chance to drop 1 in 2 tissue samples. I don't think that's true. That doesn't sound right. Is that updated for 1.4.4? I'd much rather do this than play Noida. I don't know. Or playing Phonum. I don't know. How did I beat the night-only bosses? This is on the Don't Dig Up seed, the remix seed, Vinithy, which removes time limits for bosses. Once you got jump scared by your own Terraria mod? How? What do you mean jump scared? How does a mod jump scare you? Like it added something that you forgot about? Okay, how do you fire a weapon like that accidentally? It's literally called jump scare. Like, how do you do that and not know that it's gonna jump scare you? You meant to use your magic mirror? Oh, okay. the weapon right next to you in the hotbar. That's why I usually keep my magic mirror a few away from my weapons. Obviously, I'm not doing it right now because I'm not switching my items around. But I usually keep my weapon on like 1 or 0, and I'll usually keep my magic mirror on like 5 or 6. Do I know Ekdeath? I think I might have heard that word before. I don't remember what it means. It sounds familiar, but I don't remember what it is. It's a Terraria mod? I mean, I don't know it. I just have heard of it, I think. Am I a tea guy? I don't really... I usually just drink water. I'm a water guy. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, so like those sentences are kind of meaningless to me. As you check the wiki, that doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. Just 'cause it's on the wiki. Let me check something real quick. Okay, yeah, 50% for 1 to 2. Okay. I think I was just overestimating how much they drop in the first place. Alright, I wanted to check. That was what I wanted to tab out for. But like, just because the wiki says it doesn't make it true. But I wanted to check whether or not the wiki was updated there, because there's a lot of things that have not been updated for changes. I thought I remember the creeper drop rate being 50% on the lower difficulties, but it was actually 2/3. That's the part that I forgot. Yeah, don't use the fandom wiki. Fandom wiki sucks. You'd probably be looking at killing like 20... Probably around about 20 creepers to get enough for a pickaxe, I feel like. As if the wiki open, we're stuck on a crafting recipe. Pro tip, the guide exists. is as useful as the wiki. The wiki is everything. The wiki also requires you to tab out of the game or have a second device with the wiki open, and takes longer to search up things. And longer to read. Because you have to wait for things to load, you have to find the exact part on the page where the crafting recipe is, whereas the guide is just give item, he tells you what you can make with it. I never use the wiki to look up crafting recipes, if it's something I can just look up with the guide, because the guide's faster and easier. And to get on how to get those crafting stations that you need to craft a certain thing, that's fair. I also just don't like getting outside information to leave in about 6 minutes. Okay. Outside information or help with pretty much any game. Which means I'm much more inclined... I don't mind using the Terraria wiki because I'm very familiar with Terraria, but I'll usually prefer to just do it in-game, as opposed to looking it up. And the patch notes. I said that the number was correct. No way you're still on that. Pretty clear with Subnautica. Was it? I guess. I'm like that with pretty much every game. I guess Subnautica was one example of it. Throw it out that the Terrarian is underrated. Pretty much any post-Moonlord melee weapon is going to get eclipsed by the Zenith. The Meowmere, Starwrath, and Terrarian, I'll get completely overshadowed by the Zenith. Really every post-Moonlord weapon. I mean, you don't see enough people use it. The Zenith exists. And it's also jankier to use because not many people are going to have a yo-yo build or at that stage in the game, and it's easier to just use the Starwrath and point and click from a distance and absolutely shred anything, even if you're just trying to kill the Moonlord multiple times for the rest of the Zenith drops, than it is to get a bit closer with the Terrarian and have all that. Easier on mobile because of the lock-on mechanic? That's fair, yeah. Did you pause again? Yes, it did. Have I ever broken a bone? Yeah. Only my toes, though. There was a point where I had fractured some random bone in a toe on my right foot when I was a kid, and then a couple months ago, I broke my left pinky toe. You you get the Knight's Edge pre-Skeletron if you're stuck by checking some pots for keys. And if you get the golden chest, then you got Muramasa. Yes. If you do the thing that I made that video about, overloading the spawn limit, you could probably go into the dungeon and search for a wooden chest that'll have a golden key in it. But that will require a good amount of defense to tank. To tank the things. Let's see another. Oh, we should better off just checking the starting gold chest. Oh, no, the starting gold chest is going to have the Muramasa in it. I'm saying to get the golden key. If you don't get one from pots. You could get a wooden chest by going inside, because the wooden chest is going to have a golden key in it. And the wooden chest, you're going to have several wooden chests in the dungeon just because of how it generates. I'm saying if you don't get a key, you could go in by overloading the NPC spawn cap, find a wooden chest, and then bring it back to the first chest to open the gold chest to get the Muramasa. Hey, Molly. Place some dungeon walls near pots and break them. How do you intend to get dungeon walls? You don't have a molten pickaxe yet, do you? You won't be able to get dungeon bricks. Unless you got enough things to get a molten pickaxe. In which case you could. I guess you need the fiery greatsword anyway, so I guess the implication there would require you to have gotten enough samples to get a Deathbringer and then therefore a molten pickaxe and a fiery greatsword. So yeah, you could do that. Yeah, the dungeon's underground. You won't be able to break the dungeon bricks above the surface. Also, if you want the Knight's Edge, you're going to need a fiery greatsword anyway. Which will require you to get the tissue samples. What if the Lawnmower and the Moonlord kissed? I don't know. I wasn't ready for this. Halo profile. I don't think society's ready for that, all things considered. Do I have a name for the Lawnmower? I call it the Lawnmower. That's usually what I call it. Moonlord? No, that's the character. The elevator music is, like, unironically one of my favorite tracks on the Dead Cell soundtrack. I love this song. Could never get into Dead Cells. Any particular reason why? What didn't you like about it? I was in like a massive time investment, 10 hours in and not much permanent progress had been made. Huh. I feel like that was the opposite of the experience that I had. I felt like I was making permanent progress really quickly. I think by like 10 hours in, I'd already beaten the game twice. Favorite part of Dead Cells when the protagonist Dead Cell said it's always the deadest before the cell? Yeah, I could see that. Dead Cells is a... Seemed like it's easy to not really make much permanent progress at all. Depending on how quickly you pick up the game mechanics and understand how to get through areas and stuff like that. I haven't really played Dead Cell since I finished Boss Cell 5. Mostly because I've been doing this, but... So far this stream we've dealt 4,700 damage? Hades is fun. I enjoyed Hades a lot. Yeah. It's a lot easier than something like Dead Cells, though, in my opinion. I felt like, in general, Hades was pretty easy. Hades nuts in your face. Is that supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing? Well, like, genuinely, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I can't say I've ever heard the expression of nutting in your face being used to describe a video game. So I don't know what that means. Sounds like... I mean, if you said, like, the game, like, kicks you in the balls or something. Oh, it's supposed to be like a Ligma thing. I see. I assumed you were just referencing something. I don't... Like, trying to say something to the effect of, like, it's really difficult or something. I don't... You know, all in all, Hades, I felt it was overall, much more narrative-driven and generally a lot easier. But I enjoyed it. I did kind of get, impatient, and I skipped a lot of, dialogue. And just, like, read them, because I didn't have the patience to listen to the voice lines. God, there were a lot of them. I think that's the guy from The Lion King. Are we finished the playlist? No, it's still gone. Okay. Oh, I have a second monitor. If I didn't have a second monitor, it would be very difficult for me to read chat. Well, I mean, like, I have a second monitor. There's not anything on the second monitor besides chat. I don't know what what something refers to. But I'm just doing this with music. That's all that's going on. The chatting sessions were in the background? Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much all these Lawnmower only Moonlord streams are. Because I can't do something like reading or watching something while doing this. Although we've done that in the past for a couple of the other boss streams. Hey, Deathful. Is this the Lion King 1.5? This is the Lion King, Reloaded. Where Simba gets a gun. $6 DPS? Did it really say 6? That's quite surprising. Would have had to line up perfectly between the two hands to get to 6, because this Lawnmower can't do more than 5 against a single target. I've seen it go up to 4, but I hadn't seen it go past that. Okay, I think I'll go down to 2,000 and then take a break. So another 694 damage, which would be about, let's see. Half an hour, roundabout? I think I'm gonna make some pizza rolls tonight. I'm in a pizza roll kind of mood. There's still like the 2,500 damage discrepancy here. Pizza rolls, not pizza. Favorite flavor? Pepperoni. Cheese? Favorite flavor pizza? I guess my favorite flavor pizza would probably be like a really good barbecue chicken pizza. But pizza rolls would be pepperoni. Now I want pizza, screw you. Damn, doesn't take much to set you off, huh? Just get pizza. I don't know. Why don't you just get pizza if you want it? How about I buy you a slice? Why would I buy you a slice of pizza? Because what? I mean, I'm not a charity. I don't just go around buying slices of pizza for people for no reason. Why is a blowtorch considered an illegal item? It might depend on where you're bringing a blowtorch. Like, you know, it's one thing to be holding a blowtorch at, like, a construction site or, like, an auto repair shop or somewhere you would do welding. It's another one to be carrying a blowtorch into a bank. Like, guns are not inherently illegal. Most guns are not inherently illegal in most of the US, as long as you have a permit for them. But if you're carrying that gun into a bank, that's a different question. Similarly, you could take a blowtorch in a lot of places and not get weird looks, but if you're taking it into a bank, so you pull up into the parking lot around the side of the bank and leave the blowtorch sitting in your car. And the guard of the bank comes to the parking lot and sees it. Get tinted windows. sitting next to the car. Why are you leaving a blowtorch unsupervised next to the car? I mean, that might be illegal just because of being, you know, a danger. Like, a kid could pick up that blowtorch and use it and then hurt themselves. Okay. We've been making really good progress the past couple days, now that we've increased our DPS. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get down to 172,000, and then we're gonna pause there for this stream. Pick up hopefully later tonight, as long as it doesn't storm again. Maybe they saw that the window was open, was melted open, then connected the dots. Yo, I love connecting dots. When I was a kid, I used to do this thing where I would just like put a bunch of dots on a piece of paper and then connect them randomly to draw things. I love connecting dots. How did I make my name? The 2 words rhyme. I like that. You know, like I would just like randomly put a bunch of dots on a piece of paper and then just connect them randomly. If the window looks like it was open normally, I don't think you used a blowtorch on it. Molly, hop on a carousel. I want you to go on like a lion on a carousel. You're about to leave to go on a carousel, right? To go on a plane, but like a carousel on the plane. Yeah, yeah. Where are you going? Are you going on like a vacation? Yeah. Where? You're on a flying carousel. Oh, okay. Where are you going? You'll say where after you go. Why? What? Because honestly, you don't really know where. Are you like... You're hopping on a plane and you don't know where you're going? mystery flight. The Mowgli getting, like, human trafficked flight. Okay. I don't... You know, the general area, but not where you're going. What's the general area? I assume you're, like, going with your family? Like, are you going to another country? Are you going to, like, around Portland? Oh, okay. Sounds fun. Are you, like, visiting family there, or are you just going up for, like, sightseeing and things, or what? Alright, 307 to go. You're just going there? Okay. What's the HP shown that he's at 97,000 health? That is how much HP his top eye and his hands have combined. When he teleports, it despawns his core from the world for a moment, so his core HP is subtracted, which is 75,000. So that's how much HP the hands and the top eye have together. Yeah, hey Ashley. Oh. The Oakland's lighthouse just exploded. I'm not going to be streaming for too much longer on this stream, because it's already been like 3.5 hours, and I'm getting kind of hungry. But I'll probably stream again later tonight. I want to break 170,000 today. Clover, do you play games other than Roblox? Yes? Like what? You only actively play 2 Roblox games? What, Rain Escape and Rain Escape? Guilty Squad Battle Bit. You can play Canoe Without a Paddle, Entry Game, Okerton, and Rain Escape. Yeah, that's 4. That's 4 games, Clover. Why are you lying? You don't actively play Canoe Without a Paddle or Rain Escape? Why? I thought you loved Canoe Without a Paddle. I thought it was your favorite game. Are you telling me that was a lie? It wasn't your favorite game? You deceived me to try to get me to play it with you? too much sugar is sickening. You're a liar, Clover. You're a liar. Alright, 182, and then I'll pause for the day. Or for the stream. Streaming it tonight. I think Monday is probably when we'll finish up with the hands. Monday, maybe Tuesday. It'll depend on how much time I have this weekend. I need to practice, or just observe the Moonlord's True Eyes of Cthulhu to figure out exactly how to line up their cycles. Like, at what point I need to attack it, in order to have their cycles line up. Can't believe I don't play House of Houses, Many Houses More. What? What does that mean? There's a house inside of a house? I don't understand. Like an apartment? Those houses are in a tower. Okay, so it's an apartment building. You're just describing an apartment building. There's a tower. Yeah, an apartment building. The tower of houses, okay. But inside each of those houses... Dude, you're just describing an apartment building. Like, that's just like a dorm at my college where, like, you know, you got... You know, you have the building, and then there's, you know, the rooms, and then... Like, as a suite, and then inside each of the suite, there are different rooms. But it also falls over? Oh, I didn't do that in college. That seems irresponsible. Why would you buy that real estate? There's a guy with a gun and a bunch of coils outside. Why would you live... Why would you choose to live there? This seems like a real... What's the rent like? It's free? I don't know if I trust a place with free rent. Free's gonna attract, like, junkies and really shady characters. I feel like you want, like, cheap, but not free. And then I'd consider it. Like, I'd want to be living with people that can, you know, put up some amount of money. You don't live there? Is it, like like, model houses. You go there to, like, you know, check, like, oh, my apartment building could look like this. I'm going to order this apartment building. And they'll come and build that specific apartment building. Like, do tours. You just look at it? Why? And you can fly up ladders? Marley, that's called climbing. Okay. 172 is, is our goal. And change my walk speed outside? I can do that. Like, in real life, I can just choose to walk faster or slower. I don't... What's so impressive about that? Gonna change mine to 500? Yeah, you didn't give a unit there. I could do 500. It's 500? 500 speed? Yeah, I have 500 speed. Okay, I'm going to pause when I get the opportunity here. 13510 on the right hand, and 171994. Okay, and I will pick back up tonight at some point. Undecided on exactly when. Bye everyone.